I think that theoretically, before this league launched, it was shaping up to become what I think to be my most enjoyable league ever. And that's just on a theoretical level. And what happened then is that I've now tried the league mechanic out. Obviously, we're just, 20 hours into the league or something, 18 hours. So far, I have more fun with this league mechanic. And I'm not touching it much, but still I'm enjoying it more than pretty much anything I've ever done in this game. I think it's like, fuck those tornadoes. Like, they've added small things, like the tornadoes, which makes me feel like more, I guess, alive, if you will, when I'm mapping. Because it feels like I'm actually having to do something. Because those tornadoes are rippy. So when I'm doing the actual mapping, I feel more engaged with the actual gameplay. Because there's more layers to it. That's one thing. The league mechanic itself feels very enjoyable. I love these little pop-ups. I get to do a little side thing, little idle stuff on the side, build my own little settlement. I think that's very enjoyable. And it doesn't feel like it's interrupting my enjoyment of the league or the game itself. Because the core Path of Exile is fucking fantastic. So that's one part of it. And then I'm incentivized, or rather forced, to engage with the core game because that's how you get the goal. Why is this guy not dying? Hello? Sweet Jesus. Oh, it's a soul eater. Never mind. It's not perfect. I'll talk about that as well. So the league mechanic just doesn't feel like it's interrupting, but I very much enjoy it. But there's also other things that's happened. First off, we're getting Forged Frostbearers. We've asked for these spectres for so long. I'm actually totally in love with these guys. And I'm very happy that we get them back because we've been asking for these for a very long time. And now and they came out of the blue. There was no one expected this. It was insane when we found them. So that's one part of it. And then we have the aspect that of the changes has happened. They're finally not destroying everything in the top shift of the meta like they've always done when they do meta shakeups. Instead, they took the very top end, like DD, for example, got destroyed. And then they left a lot of other things that were high-performing meta builds in previous leagues and just let them be. Poison SRS is still good. Helmbreaker made a Poison 2-mancer. We have Bama builds are still really high-performing. Holy Relic is still up there when it comes to minion builds specifically and whatnot. It's just absolutely lovable. People are doing Archmage build, which is great last league, etc., etc. And then they took the underperforming builds that, quite honestly, has been underperforming for literally 10 years, and that's melee builds, and brought them up to be really, really good. But not only that, they've also made it so that they've changed the way defensive layers are working. I mean, we have life modifiers, like this here is a tier 2 life on a shield. It's just crazy. I think I have another piece here. This is a tier 2 life on a pair of boots. 114 top life on tier 2, that's just crazy. So these numerical values will be much harder to get used to. But look at the base armor on a Colossal Tower shield. Like, look at this with equality being multiplicative. It's just nuts what you can achieve. And what this does with higher life, higher armor, higher evasion, higher energy shield, it now, and the removal of Divine Blessing, it incentivizes us to look at different other, or a large variety of other defensive layers. So a lot of minion builds have been stuck with the whole Eldritch Battery, hybrid style approach, Chaos Rest Life, regen approach, and just using that as defensive layers and spell suppression. But now, because of these changes, hybrid builds, ES life-based, are actually viable. Or like I'm going to do with this build, I'm actually going to go CI, which I love doing, but I haven't been able to do it because it's always been something that's considered worse because of the current state of the game in the past. That's changing. So now we have a higher build diversity than I think I've ever seen in Path of Exile, at least for minion builds, that's the case right now. And all of these things just adds up to this marvelous experience of the league mechanic not being intrusive. If you don't like it, you don't have to dive into it too much. Small things like the tornadoes. First, I hated them, and then now I'm feeling like I'm actually playing around it and making me feel like I'm actively playing more during mapping. Everything is just so goddamn good. But obviously, there are some bad things in the game still. It's not perfect. For example, Soul Eater still has some issues with minions. The TLDR there is a Soul Eater stacks makes the enemies take less damage. And minions are going to inevitably die and inevitably make them hit the cap of basically not taking any damage. So unless you're doing ridiculous amounts of damage, you're not killing Soul Eaters that are tanky. So that's a huge problem in my opinion. But other than that, I'm just absolutely in love with this. The crafting methods and everything available through the league mechanic, the recoms, and the enchant system. I can't describe how excited I was for this league beforehand, and now that I'm playing it, I can't rate it lower than like 12 out of 10 so far. 10 years of Path of Exile, And they just keep doing these things where they just deliver these top quality, high tier levels of content. And 10 years, I just love, or used to love, synthesis because of how complex and in-depth it was. And here I am just absolutely loving the current state of this game. I can't describe it in a better way. I keep getting asked, what do you think of the league? What do you think of the league? This is what I think of the league. It is by far, so far, my experience, the best league that I have ever played in Path of Exile. And I feel like a goddamn chill here, but that is literally my opinion. It's not perfect. PoE will never be perfect. No game will be. But this is the best league I've ever experienced of 10 years of playing this game. And to me, that's just insane. Anyways, that's my my take on this league so far.